Hello and welcome to Wild Owl TV. Now, there aren't going to be too many video diaries through the winter unless something special happens. Most of my video diaries are actually in the spring and summer when there's lots of activity, and also for me personally I find it a little bit challenging through the winter months, and friends of mine know what I'm talking about, but I struggle a little bit in the winter period, so I'm not really always in the right frame of mind to be sticking myself in front of a camera. But today I felt a little bit positive, so that's why I thought I'd give you an update. So enough about me and more about the garden. Now, what can I tell you? Well, like I say, there's not an awful lot happening. I've been sort of gradually pulling out some of the wild flowers, and up until recently, there's one remaining flower there, but I'm actually very pleased to say there's been a lot of flowers until the recent frosts, and now gradually everything is gone. But that kept the bees and butterflies going. Robbie here, hello mate. He's there waiting for his morning feed. So I'm still buying mealworms at the moment. Let's just go in the house a minute, and there you go. Just come on then. All right, sorry about the filming here. Come on then. Doesn't usually feed out of the pot. Go on then, you know where it comes from. He wants it on the hand. There you go. So these are live mealworms, which is a luxury in the winter. Come on then, good boy. So he's been feeding off him, and who's that? It's just mobbed him. Oh, it's Rennie. So Rennie is also being fed by the hand. There's Rennie just behind. So Rennie is saying, how come you're getting some and not me? So Rennie is a very special little chap. Come on then. So where's Rennie? There he is there. Wrens are very, very special little birds. They're in a lot of gardens. And this little chap, right, let's just put some down there. There we go then. And he'll come down for that in a second. Come on then. You can't see it. He's not quite so cute as the robin. Let's just throw it over a little bit. Come on then, what's this? There he goes. Where'd he go? Goodbye. So that's Rennie and Robin in the middle. Okay, that's them sorted. Let's take you around the garden. Really, again, not much to say now. Badger did come in the garden last night, but I've been keeping the badger hole blocked off here, and he's not been going under the fence, so I think it was just a little bit of a casual visit. But badgers aren't really so active this time of year. I'm feeding on both sides of the garden. I'll go and buy some more food soon. And I was going to say to you about my moth trap. Now, I recently put a post on to say that I had a new moth trap. This is mine and Jackie's Christmas present from my mum, bless her. When I did the post, I think the word trap is a little bit misleading, and somebody put on there, why would you want to trap moths? And I think she understood that we weren't actually trapping moths to kill them, because of course that's really not the case, because what I'm trying to do is actually find out what moths are in the garden. And a moth trap is a special device which has a special lamp, in this case a tube, and this tube is on at the moment. Can you see it's shining a little bit blue? This is an actinic tube, and I'll just turn it off a second. This is a purpose-built moth trap by a specialist, and where we got this one from was fantastic. Really, really nice quality. It's a perspex here, stainless steel. You've got veins there, and then of course what happens is the moths are attracted to the light, but they fall down into the funnel, and when they go down to the funnel, oops, they then go into the main chamber. And the reason there's egg boxes in here is so the moths can hide away in the egg boxes. Now this trap hasn't been out, so this is empty, but the idea is that you basically come down the next morning and you can then pick up your moths with a little container, and you can study them, see which ones they are, record them, and then release them. And what we normally do is either release them that evening or release them into the cover of the wildlife area here. So it's really good, and it's actually having a proper moth trap, by all accounts, is going to massively increase the amount of moths that we're recording here in the garden, and that's really good information. So I'm really looking forward to using that in the spring, because of course this time of year there aren't so many moths active, and although on a mild night there can be some winter moths, the time that we're really going to start to find some really exciting new species, I hope, is going to be in the spring. So that's my moth trap. So at the moment we've got wood mice. Every night there's a little mouse, well, more than one mouse. He was sat here just on top of the grass last night, and I almost stood on him a few times. They're very tame, and they get used to me. Whereas in the spring and summer we could lift these boards up and expect to find something, but at this time of year it's very unlikely we're going to find anything, because if you're newt or anything like that, you would have long ago gone into a crevice somewhere where you're going to spend the winter away from the potential of freezing to death. The wildlife area, well, rats are still around here, and in fact there's more than 2 now, and this is inevitable when you have an area like this. It's very overgrown, and so I've got some cameras set up to just monitor what's going on. The pond now is again relatively empty. When I net out the leaves, every now and then I'll catch a stickleback or a dragonfly larva, nymph should I say, and along this fenced area, along the hedge area, is where I'm feeding the birds, and that's also a rat run, because the rats are actually running in front of the house. A little bit concerned that there's now more than 2, and one of those things I'm just currently processing. Okay, so let's have a I mentioned to you in a post that Jazz had laid an egg. Let's have a little look in here. Now she's I had to put her in this aviary, which is a little bit busy with storage items, but she's not worried, because hello. So there she is. How many have you got now then? Have a little look. Let's have a look. How many have we got? All right, darling. How many have we got? Just one? Oh, I can just feel one under there. Yeah. So you're just doing your mummy thing, aren't you? All right, good girl. She's very gentle, this bird. So yeah, she's laid an egg, and it's not even December yet, Jazz. But tawny owls, it's not unheard of for tawny owls to lay eggs in December. I'm not sure about November, but you're not a wild bird, are you? But something prompted her to lay an egg. That's the first time she's ever laid an egg at this time of year. Normally the first egg is at least in March. So she's it's quite useful actually, because the fact that she's on an egg means that she's quiet, because she's been really noisy this last few weeks, and we've had, as my previous diaries would have shown you, we've had tawny owls in the garden. In fact, we had an owl just sat up on the neighbour's shed not that long ago. So let me just tell you about something else that happened. Now, I've been trying to catch these rats. I've tried all sorts of methods to deal with these rats. I've been encouraging them into Jazz's aviary, thinking that she could have a free meal. I've been trying to catch them with live traps, and I've just been trying different things. One night I laid a trap down, and the next morning there was something in the trap, but it wasn't a rat. It was a hedgehog, and it was a very small hedgehog, which I just didn't know was in the garden. So since then, this is about 3 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks ago, I have been looking after this hedgehog, and this is where this hedgehog is living at the moment, in the shed, in that box, and I'm keeping it contained in here and feeding it with a fresh supply of dog biscuits and peanuts and sunflower hearts, and of course most importantly water. And this hedgehog he's been putting weight on. So if you bear with me a second, I'm just going to get my gloves, bring the hog out, and we'll weigh it and see how it's been doing. So be back to you in a second. I feel something in here. There you are. Come on then. Okay. Right then. So, all right, darling. So, this is this little hedgehog, and oh, you're looking really well now, aren't you? Aren't you looking well? So this hedgehog came into me at 272 grams, didn't you? And you're very lively. Let's see what you weigh today. You stay there. He is 555 grams. 555 grams. That is fantastic. You're a little pig, aren't you? So the optimum, the ideal weight for releasing a hedgehog is apparently 600 grams. All right. It's about 600 grams. So we're going to, he's rudely awakened this hog, but he's quite a feisty hog. He's very wild, which is good. But I'm going to just keep him for another couple more days. I mean, 272 grams he would never have survived the winter. They have to be able to put weight on to hibernate, and this hedgehog was just far too light. So I'm well chuffed that I've managed to give him a safe enclosure and get him up to weight. Badger came in the garden last night, and that's not ideal, but what I'm hoping is that when we get a nice weather forecast, when it's not too cold, I'll get this hedgehog back in the garden, put some food out for him. Spoke to Yvonne, Hedgehog Rescue, about this hedgehog, and Yvonne suggested that we just put food out for him, and it can have access to food. Hopefully the rats won't take it, but dog biscuits will be available for it. And we do a soft release, and then hopefully it will decide that you're going to hibernate. And there's a few places in the garden that you can tuck yourself away, aren't there? There you go. What do you reckon then? How cute is that? And do you know what? It's a real pleasure to have a hedgehog in the garden, because I actually haven't had too many hedgehogs in the garden. And you're very lively, much more lively when I found him. He was actually not that great when I found him, so I'm going to put him back into the this little box. This is where I've basically I've been keeping the hedgehog, in this cardboard box with hay, and there you go, all covered up again. And we'll pop that back in the shed so it doesn't get damp. And I think that's one happy hedgehog. So I think that's pretty much covered everything I can cover at the moment. I mentioned that it's got a few options of places to live, and that is one of the wood piles. There's a new wood pile that I've created by the wildlife pond, and that's full of wooden leaves, and that's an option for it. And of course, over in the wildlife area, there's a fantastic area there where this hog could find itself a nice little home, or indeed under the shed. That's if the rats aren't taking up all the space. So lots of different options. Right, so hope that's brought you up to date, and thanks for watching Wild Owl TV. Anything that interesting happens in the coming months, I will let you know. And of course, I will at some point, I need to do this sooner than later, do a video on feeding the birds. I've got it all ready to do, just need to be in the right frame of mind to do it. Okay, thanks for watching Wild Owl TV. Bye.